If you clicked on this video, you lift weights and you are interested in learning some cool calisthenics skills, and you may be calisthenics interested. So that's awesome, because I was just like you literally less than 6 months ago, and I'm going to throw up on the screen all of the achievements that I've made in calisthenics thus far, and I can just tell you straight away right off the bat, like, there's no going back. This calisthenics journey is so fun, and if you are already lifting weights or have been into weightlifting, bodybuilding, and you want to start to do some calisthenics, you will not regret it. So let me go ahead and share my screen here with all the achievements that I have basically unlocked these moves in all the days that you're seeing on the screen, or how many days it took me from my first attempt at that skill to when I could comfortably say that I had unlocked it. Now, unlocking a move is a little bit of a vague term, but in my book, it just means performed correctly with the correct form. Some of these are static holds, so if I could hold it for 1 to 2 seconds, that would be unlocking it if I had good form. Now, I'm happy to be talking about this today because, just side note, this compression shirt from Under Armour, this side, this is my weightlifting shirt. It was one of my weightlifting shirts. I haven't worn it in some time since I started calisthenics, but I wore it today in my calisthenics practice. But it just takes me back to my just pure weightlifting days, which were only around 6 months ago or a year ago, when I was really doing weightlifting. So I'm happy to be making this video on this day. But let's talk about some of these moves and which ones I think to target first. But if you have been weightlifting for some time and you feel like you have a really strong back, that is going to really be an advantage. And that was the case for me. So in my weightlifting already, I was doing calisthenics without even knowing it, right? I was doing weighted calisthenics. I was doing, on back days, leading with, pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, and I went pretty heavy. My training regimen was to lift heavy. I would only do, somewhere between 4 and maybe 6 reps of weighted pull-ups, really going heavy at the start of my workout. And so I had no idea that just over time I was building this amazing foundation in my back to unlock some of these calisthenics skills. So I always felt like, hey, I'm never going to be this biggest, most jacked aggro guy in the gym. But I've always kind of been this little bit more slender, but a little bit more shredded physique, and so I actually felt like I was really predisposed to get into calisthenics. So if you have that kind of really high amount of strength, but still a low body weight, right, high strength to body weight ratio, I would put you in the category that's very well positioned to be successful in calisthenics. So you're probably wondering, how the heck did you unlock all these moves in so little time? So remember, I was working on some of these concurrently, and I will say, as you are a beginner in calisthenics, you're going to make progress pretty fast in some of these moves, right? You can unlock some of these fast. So like frog and crow, those actually might be more difficult for some of you weightlifters. Even though they are kind of entry-level calisthenics exercises, they might take you a day or two to get fully, because they do require a little bit of balance. And so in this video, I'm not going to dive deep into how to actually unlock those moves, but let's talk about something like, L-sit, for example. Again, that might be somewhat tricky for some of you weightlifters. There's a picture of me doing it here. And so you can do it on parallettes, right, on bars, or you can do it right just on the ground. I think on the ground is a little bit harder because you don't have as much distance. But again, this is really about, elevating, activating your scapula, right, depressing your shoulders, really pushing into the ground. And then the other thing is you need to strengthen your hip flexors. So that's where you weightlifters might not really, be training your hip flexors. That depends, but that's where it would be a tricky move for you, is if you don't have flexible hamstrings and you don't have strong hip flexors, keeping your legs straight out like that is going to be hard in keeping that L shape. So if you want to learn the L-sit, I don't think it's going to take you a lot of time. It's not a super tricky skill, and building up the necessary strength in your hip flexors and the flexibility in your hamstrings is not going to take too long. If you want to learn more in depth of how to do that, I'm going to throw a video up in the corner somewhere on how I unlocked L-sit in actually, it says 26 days there. I think I did it Yeah, maybe that's right. I have to double check. It was something like that. It did not take long. So that's L-sit. Then I was talking about back strength, so I went on a bit of a digression there. But let's talk about the pulling moves that you can unlock. So on the screen here, you're looking at human flag, and then this one is the front lever. So these are really heavy lat engagement moves, especially front lever. People think it's like core, right? Weightlifters coming into calisthenics might expect this move to be more of a core move. But that's really not the case. It's really all about your lats. And so what I do tell people is to train weighted calisthenics, you need a strong back. And so how do you do that? You build your back with dynamic back movements. In my opinion, weighted pull-ups are clutch for unlocking this move. So if you're someone that already has weighted pull-ups in your regimen, you might not even know that you can unlock this. It probably in a month or 2 months. I mean, honestly, if you have a really strong back and have a lower body weight, you can perform this move in not a lot of time. Now, don't expect to just get on the bar and unlock it. Okay, it's going to take some time. You need to retract your scapula. There's certain things that you need to do. Again, if you want to learn the front lever, which is a super cool move that I highly recommend that you start chasing. It's so much fun to just be in the journey and unlock these skills. I'm going to throw a video again up there on exactly how I did it in 29 days and all my recommendations for how to train for it. Again, I am big on weighted pull-ups, but that's not to say don't train the skill directly. You absolutely need to get on that bar and get a feel for what it's like and train that front lever directly. Now, human flag, this is another one that you might expect more core engagement, and there is core engagement. Your obliques are definitely involved there, but it actually, I think, for me at least, was really about getting and feeling that engagement in my lats. So when I'm on the bar like that with human flag, I'm pushing in with the bottom arm, pushing, extending, pushing into the pull, and then with the top arm, you're pulling, and that creates this kind of, physics effect where you're kind of rigid, right, and perpendicular to the whatever pole you're on. Now, actually, on a flag pole or a stop sign, or in this case a handicap sign, it's actually going to be easier because the surface of what you're gripping, there's more surface area, and so I actually learned it on these bars. And so I want to show, I'm just going to talk as this video plays, but this was my whole human flag journey. And remember, I'm coming from weightlifting, but this was really day by day my journey in human flag. And you can see I really just took a trial and error approach, but that just goes to show without even a rigid training program, which you should have, right? I mean, it's always good to have a plan of attack, but I was just so eager and I just was having so much fun that my approach was really a trial and error one. But on these bars, these horizontal bars, there's actually less surface area. They're much thinner, and that makes, I found, the movement much harder. But you can see day by day, I was getting better, and you will learn just by showing up every day. And that's my advice to beginners in calisthenics on any move. Don't quit. You got to keep showing up. You got to keep trying, and you will get better. But where the weightlifters are going to struggle, and there you can see that was the first moment that I unlocked it. So if you like those kind of short form videos, go ahead and drop me a follow on Instagram, and I also post them on YouTube Shorts as well. But as I was saying, where the weightlifters might have a disadvantage is the fact that you don't have the mobility, the flexibility, the balance, right? Those things are so important and critical for a lot of these skills. So stuff like handstand, I mean, look, 142 days. And honestly, today at the gym, I just posted a short form video on Instagram, basically showing a montage of me completely failing at the handstand. This is not like a one and done, oh, you unlock it and you can just do it now, right? This is not how it works. Progress is non-linear. One day you're going to show up and have all this amazing progress and you can unlock the move and you just feel like on top of the world. And then you come back the next day and you feel like you're having a workout that you did months ago. And that's how it felt like today. But with, handstand is a super, super difficult skill, really. And I mean, I have short form videos going back where I was, trying handstand on day, 8 or 9 of my calisthenics journey, just totally you know, not understanding how long it would take me to actually learn it. And the reason it's such a difficult skill is because it hits all of those different pieces. It hits, balance, it hits strength, it hits mobility, right? You need the shoulder mobility. You need to stay perfectly aligned, perfectly stacked. And so it's so hard to get the form right. You're engaged in all these ways, and a handstand is very, very difficult. And so I did come into calisthenics thinking that one would be way easier, and it wasn't. Now, for some of these straight arm skills, right, you can see down here in the lower left, stuff like planche. This is a tuck planche hold, and honestly, the form in that picture is not even that good. And this would certainly, I would say, not be my strong suit. And so the 25 days there is just saying it took me 25 days to be able to hold that position for about 15 seconds. So that's like a pretty solid hold there. But now that's a part of my training right now, is just doing those straight arms. So a lot of people work up to a full planche, and that is a lot of people's kind of end goal, right? People that I talk to in my coaching program, like they talk about full planche being kind of the end goal, and really everyone in calisthenics, right? And so once you've achieved full planche, you are really the real deal. And I can't do a full planche, right? But I do know, these beginner moves are very fresh in my mind, having just gone through all of this and gone through the blood, sweat, and tears to unlock these things really on my own. And so I have just that collection of experiences. But you got to get in there for yourself, right? You got to see what works for you, and you should have a plan of attack. You should have a training regimen, but that doesn't mean that different people can't figure things out in different ways, and you're constantly making tweaks to what you're doing as well. But there's other moves on here that I haven't talked about yet. I mean, one arm pull up, right? That's like a pure strength to body weight game. So a lot of you weightlifters probably can already do a one arm pull up. And if you haven't tried already, you should. And so I've actually gotten to the point now where I can do more than one arm pull up, and it's a really, really cool feeling. But all of these moves do take time if you don't have the necessary strength and prerequisites. And so don't get discouraged if you can't perform them yet. There's other moves that are not on the screen. Like here's me doing very early on. This was very early on in my, this is probably maybe just 1 week into my calisthenics journey, doing these moves, elbow lever. So like, this is a beginner move. It's very easy. A lot of you guys could learn this in a day. And honestly, this is a balance move. So even if you're not a weightlifter, you can do something like this. And this is not even good form here, but that's just to say, like, rounding this all out, you can really make a lot of progress early on in calisthenics if you are coming from a solid weightlifting foundation. I just found, for me, I really could perform these pull moves really, really well. And I'm just saying, like, there is no going back. Weightlifting is fun. I still have it in my training program. I still do. A lot of hypertrophy work. I focus on having that shredded physique and having that muscularity, and I am kind of physique focused, but so I'll never give up weightlifting. I still like pushing weight, but performing some of these calisthenics moves, man, you really can't put a price on it. It's really, really rewarding and really, really a lot of fun. So if you are a weightlifter currently and you're thinking about unlocking some of these moves, do leave a comment, reach out to me here or on Instagram. I am here for you, man. I want to help you because that's exactly what I did. And so I will always be here to give you my thoughts on how to unlock some of these moves, and just really trying to foster this calisthenics community, and just have fun with it, man. It is really my passion now, and I want to share it with all of you. So I will leave it there, and see you guys in the next one. If you haven't, like and subscribe.